Communism on its face, as in on the surface, seems like a great idea. It could be argued that its intent was to have all goods and services shared equally, have control in the hands of the people rather than a ruling elite, eliminate poverty, and eliminate the upper class. What makes communism so wrong is that it really is nothing but a form of altruism and collectivism, as it gives priority to the group or society rather than the individual. Communism denies and opposes the right to private property, which is thus an attack on human freedom. To attack and abnegate human freedom is wrong, which is one of the main reasons why communism is wrong. But it's actually worse than that. Because communism opposes private property rights, it fundamentally entails enslavement of the people. Because when property and wealth are put into the hands of society as a whole, independence is lost, as the fruits of one's efforts are taken from you and given to the community. One's work and production are sacrificed to the society rather than belonging to the worker. Sacrifice directly entails the need of coercion and force, as sacrifice is counter to human nature and survival, and thus usually produces resistance and unrest. This is why communist countries often have so much suffering, misery, and killing, because communism is fundamentally based on the evil ethics of altruism and collectivism. This is because the individual's production of wealth is not allowed to be their own, but is rather taken from them, and they don't have control of what they earned, and thus they have to sacrifice for others and sacrifice for the group. Communism also entails the sacrifice of an individual man's mind to the group, since the group's needs come first and the group as a whole gets an equal share of the wealth produced. This sacrifices man's mind by forcing him to have to give up his creativity or innovation for the benefit of others and society at his expense. This is also why communism stifles and stagnates wealth. There is little to no motivation to create or achieve if no matter how hard you work or how brilliant you are, you still will only get an equal share with someone who didn't work as hard, or didn't innovate as well, or isn't as brilliant as you. Your individuality is sacrificed to the group. Your creativity is sacrificed to the group. And that is collectivism, which on a singular level is altruism, as you are then, as an individual, sacrificing what you value or have to others at your expense. Communism is wrong because it entails collectivism and altruism, and boils down to an attack on human rights and freedom. And when freedom and rights are violated or taken away, repression and force are almost always needed, because man cannot be expected to go very long sacrificing himself for the sake of others. This runs counter to self-interest and thus counter to survival and happiness, which is why so many communist regimes have failed.